You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
I mean, what? What? And you got to be kidding me. Skip? Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC Airwaves. I thank the good Lord. I mean, damn!
No. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell, the Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. This is episode 417. We're talking about the Washington Commanders. Before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. You should have seen episode 416 as we talked about the Baltimore Ravens. Episode 418, 419, and 420. Those episodes will be recorded later this week. In 421. The WNBA Mock Draft 2.0, Brendan Potts wants to come on the podcast and talk about, he wants to have a say and share his thoughts on the 2025 WNBA draft. So be tuned in for those 4 episodes sometime this week. Okay, where do I begin? So we go from this really kind of set the tone for what I was not expecting the weekend to feel like. But, Washington Commanders lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. The final score was 28-16.
Game over, yeah!
All right. I think there's a couple ways you can. I'm not going to go at the jug. I think I'm going to be trying to be calm, cool, and collective. But I think I'm going to be fair from this game, from this perspective. Positives. I'm going to start with the defense. In the first half, defensively, they did everything I thought they would do to keep the game close. I was expecting the game to be close. I wasn't expecting it to be a blowout or anything like that. I knew it was going to be defensively. It was going to be a test. When you're facing defensively, you have to match up against A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. That has a lot. And it was a challenge. But for the most part, we passed the test. We brought pressure on Jalen, counted for the sacks. Mike Saracel, he has proven, in my eyes, shout to Will Kramer and Will Kramer and Sean Spencer. I was going to say Will Spencer, Sean Spencer, Will Kramer for Washington Football Weekly. They may agree with this, but I think he's shown that he is the number one corner for our defense because Mississippi State, Emmanuel Forbes, my patience with him is all worn out. And Mike looked really good on A.J. Brown, locked him down. Yes. Did A.J. Brown catch 5 passes? Yes. But most of the times, he is not defending him. And again, I think once we get Marshawn Lattimore back healthy, I definitely think that should be something to see. So, but I mean, when you look at everything, I mean, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown combined for 94 yards.
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. Mm-mm. What do you want me to say to that?
So, I mean, Mike did a good job. I'm giving Mike his praise because he deserves a game ball. He did a really good job on the coverage. We did a good job defensively. We had a goal line stand for us to fourth down the inside on their own 5-yard line because they was an 87-yard drive, if I remember correctly. They had to settle for 3 field goals in the first half. Jake Elliott missed 2 of them. Cost me a fantasy football matchup. Thanks a lot on that. But on the drive where it did not end in points, they were held to 23 yards on 13 plays, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
He didn't even try.
So when you look at it, again, in the second half, it was a tale of 2 halves. And again, I think we held its own, but the team as a whole, we just didn't do enough. Now, on the flip side to that, I thought the offense was clearly the issue throughout the game. I just thought we were not consistent. I thought, we could talk about from first 10 games of the season, all that. I mean, we, for the most part, we struggled to stay on the field. We just looked. We just looked like we couldn't get. We just had a hard time getting momentum going. I mean, as the game progressed, I mean, things got better. But I mean, if you watch their first 4 possessions, they were held to 3 and out. I mean, 10 of their first 11 drives, they were held to less than 10 plays. I mean, let me see, 10 of their first 11 drives, less than 10 plays. You can't defend that. And then credit the Eagles defensively. Jaden Daniels was under pressure most of the game. I mean, their front 7, they brought it. I mean, he was sacked. They tackled him. And again, even though Jake Elliott, especially in his second missed field goal, if I remember correctly, we were in great field position. We were at our own 41. Yes. And he was sacked first and second down. 3rd and 22. That can't happen. And outside of Austin Eckler, who had 96 yards total, there's an example on the 39-yard that it was a 3rd and 9, if I remember correctly. He dropped it. There was another I used Noah Brown. There's something like, I think it was 2nd and something throwing at his feet. Everyone's saying that he doesn't look healthy, and the rib injuries. And again, nobody, as somebody, again, I reiterate this again, as somebody who has suffered an injury, has a groin injury, has dealt with a rib injury, you do not recover like that. Okay. I don't think it had anything to do with injury. I think for their front 7 made it rough for him all night. Now, I think he also too. I'm gonna say the same thing like I said. Well, I should have mentioned this with Lamar. Just could not connect with them. His receivers couldn't connect with Terry. I mean, Jaden could not connect with Terry, Noah, just couldn't get any flow going. I mean, that hurt. That's going to hurt you as in your ability to sustain drives. When you look at Terry McLaurin, because he's coming into this game, he was third in receiving yards. I mean, he wasn't targeted at all until the third 4 minutes until the third quarter.
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
And he didn't make a catch almost 5 minutes into the fourth quarter.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord.
I mean, that's the second time in his that's the second time in his career where he's not was targeted at all in the first half.
He didn't even try.
And again, I don't know if that was defense. I don't know. You have to figure out. You have to find ways, especially when he's your number one receiver. You have to find ways to get him the ball. I mean, but he wasn't the only one that struggled to get open. I mean, it wasn't until their Washington's fifth drive. Yes, their fifth drive where we had De'Ami Brown. He caught it was a screen pass that went 4 yards. And again, credit Philadelphia's defense. Keon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Darius Slay. I mean, if you watch, I mean, I think it was Keon Mitchell. He was lined up on 20 of the 25 snaps. I mean, routes that was he was not targeted on any of those. Terry was not targeted on any of those. And again, like that's something. And I'm not going to panic on that. I think we'll be fine. Like again, when you look, okay, let me back up. I'm gonna start with Jaden. Did Jaden play well? No, he's a rookie, just like Caleb Williams. These young men are allowed to make mistakes. That's part of the game. I think there's this like delusion when somebody has a bad game. Oh my gosh, the wheels are falling off. It's the end of the world. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, just through the first 11 weeks, I mean, we've already exceeded expectations. I mean, these last 2 games, he's struggled. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, his accuracy is not the same. He's a little off. He's not really got the pocket. I mean, again, when you watch, is he under duress? Offensive line's not really getting the protection he needs. Yes, but I mean, I'm not going to say if it was his rib injury. I'm not going to say if it was. I think there's more to something that's obviously that needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed now, because you know we're starting to we're now getting into the home stretch of the season, and you kind of want to nip this now in the butt, because I mean by the third quarter, I mean it was kind of inevitable. That's just my opinion. Okay, in terms of listen, it's not funny because I'm trying to because for me, I respect any coach that likes to be aggressive. I do. But you have to pick your spots when to be aggressive. Follow me here. Close your eyes. Picture it. You're down 12-10. 4th and 2. 26-yard line. What happened? Now, you failed to convert. Now, you hadn't seen too many of this all the whole season. Now, they were struggling, but they were, as a team, it was a good drive. Now, for me, my question to Dan Quinn, why do you not take the 3? Take the 3. When you didn't do that, to me, that's when I knew the game was over. Now, in fairness, if we had taken the lead, that touchdown would not have put the game out of reach. But for how mediocre the offense looked, we would have given them a chance. I mean, that touchdown gave them. It was a 2-score game, and they scored again when Jaden threw his interception.
Mm-hmm. I can't defend that. What do you want me to say to that?
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting.
What the hell was... I mean, damn! Damn! How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, that was questionable. So I really would like to know why he just didn't take the 3 points. And Zane Gonzalez, since also dealt with injury, he's been pretty good for us. On their last drive, I have a question. You was 15 plays for 70 yards. You to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, make a 1-score game. But there were less than 30 seconds. Can I have an explanation of what that was? I mean, if I remember correctly, okay. I'm gonna. I mean, I can use every other game, but I'm gonna use the Ravens game as an example. Playing with pace, no huddle, trying to confuse defense, diffuse the defense. Where was that when if you had at least a 2 minute? If you had 2 minutes, I mean, I really didn't understand that at all. That was really, really whew, okay. That was something. So, but that's neither here nor there. And it really didn't help that Brian Robinson, he really wasn't much of a difference maker. 16 carries, 63 yards, less than 4 yards per carry. And again, I understand he's coming off a hamstring injury. And look, I you know, he gave me something, but it just giving them their defense, and he just didn't do well. It just wasn't a difference maker. And again, also too, like when you look at everything, Philly was the better team. I mean, say what you want. I know, everyone's been clowning Nick Sirianni and all these different things, but this was more about look at both teams. Philadelphia is obviously the better team. Talent-wise, I mean, again, this is a new roster. That no one I certainly didn't expect this. I mean, Philadelphia was just a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. I mean, we're playing with fool's gold. Okay, like they're still going to make the playoffs. It's not the end of the world, but I mean, if you think about it, listen, they were right there with a healthy Eagles team in prime time. They were right there. You take if you look at it from the offense in terms of if a stagnant offense that was mistake prone, this game would look different. And again, like I just thought the defense, we talked about even when last year run, bend but don't break. But I think the defense just finally just broke. And especially it just not trying to contain Saquon Barkley. I mean, he finished the game with 26 carries, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. At halftime, he was 15 carries for 56 yards. That's less than 4 yards per carry. So when your offense is not helping, your defense is on the field. And guess what's happening? That's time of possession. You're wearing your defense out. That doesn't help. I know that's the reality. So yeah, that's what happened. But those were essentially my takeaways of what happened. Disappointing, but I am proud that I saw a football team compete. They're right there. Outside of a few mistakes, I think they've proven that they can hang right there with the Eagles, and that can't be taken away from them. Frankie, Mike, they deserve a game ball. I really give the defense as a whole a game ball, because especially the first half that they had. Offense, we need to have a conversation. Jaden Daniels will be fine. Again, last 2 games he hasn't been great, but let's see how he will respond. So, and also too, in fairness, and again, defenses have game planned for him. It happens. So that's pretty much it. But from Philadelphia's side of the ball, look at Philly. I mean, Saquon Barkley is a cheat code. He's a difference maker. I think I believe he's on pace to have one of the best seasons of his career. I mean, he turned it up, and especially in the second half. I believe correctly, he was surpassed 1,000 yards. He passed Derrick Henry. No. Prior to playing, before we played them before Sunday, he passed Derrick Henry. So, but yeah. That was interesting. That just tells you how dominant both running backs have been this year. So, and also too, like the defense, at 93 yards on 28 attempts, they did a good job containing the rush. Their defense is one of the best. Vic Fangio has been calling a great game defensively. And I thought those 2 field goals would have played a factor, but it didn't. But outside of that, fourth quarter made a difference. But yeah, I mean, from a team that started 500, look at where they're at now. So they've made things in the NFC a little interesting. I still think Detroit is the best team in the NFC. Then it's Philly. I could see those two. So, but yeah. And we have to face them, the Ravens too. So I'm not looking forward to that. So especially with their pass rush and just like the balance of their offense. Like example, like in this game, they ran for 228 yards. I think Jalen from correctly threw for 221 yards. Like to defend that that's not easy. And did leave some points on the board, yes, but goodness gracious. But other than that, listen, man, the Commanders will be fine. And look, they got a little mini bye week and well deserved. And again, let them take this time to recuperate and they'll be ready. They got the that team in Dallas as they recover from their loss against the Houston Texans this past weekend. So, so this has been that was an interesting way to start off the week. Commanders losing on Thursday, the Ravens losing Sunday, Maryland football losing Saturday, Maryland men's basketball losing to Marquette over the weekend as well. And they lost on Friday, excuse me. They lost by 4 though. But like I said, when Maryland women's basketball, that was the bright spot of the weekend. So that at least brought my spirits up some. But that's going to do it. I don't have one final thought other than you know what? The Baltimore Ravens are not a serious franchise, and Dan Quinn, you and I need to have a conversation. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Actually, no. Be right back. Okay, now I can officially say it. The Baltimore Ravens are not a serious franchise. Dan Quinn, you and I did have a conversation because that was you've been making some very interesting, some very head scratching calls, and Kliff Kingsbury too. You and I need to have a conversation too because you're starting to look very suspect. Please like, comment, subscribe for our future content. We're out of here. Peace. Stay out.
I know that loving me wasn't always easy. And you felt like walking away when you couldn't see me. Felt like all your hope was gone. But I'm right here on bended knee. Please be my wife and stay with me. Please take my hand through stormy weather. We will stay, yeah. Let me be the one you. When you need me, I'll be there. Just to let you know.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you.
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.